All right, I am here with Duane Lee Holland Jr., the choreographer of the Magnificent Seven musical that I just saw for the first time. I'm here at the Repertory Theatre. I'm on your stomping grounds, and you are getting an oil change. So, totally normal. I
Well,
don't think I've ever interviewed somebody from the car dealership before. So,
hey, it's first time for everything.
yes. So
That's
I
great.
jokingly, but seriously said I've been waiting for you all day because you are my last interview of the day. And when I spoke with Michael about how to do these interviews and groupings and pairings, I said I wanted you one-on-one because I want to just geek out about choreography with you. So I hope that's okay.
That sounds great. That sounds
Awesome. All right.
wonderful.
That's what we're going to do. So I have a lot of notes, but I got to tell you, as a gymnastics person, you can't be fooled, right? Like authenticity, you did it. They have the fingers, they have the finish and press down. Amy Chow rolling her ankles, like warming up her ankles, rolling her toes over before she goes. I mean, the sternum lift. Yeah, I mean, you did it. And the actors love you. Let me tell you that. They are so grateful for you and love you so much. But you did it. Cause I was like, it's like a doctor watching Grey's Anatomy. It just like drives them crazy because they're like, that would never happen. And I'm like, no, this is pretty good. They're not going to do gymnastics. They're looking the part though. So really, really well done. I also really appreciated the chassé circle with the arms crossing and opening, like just the bread and butter.
We want to go for being as authentic as possible, but thank you, Nicole. I appreciate
Yes.
it. It was an amazing experience. Gordon wrote a great book and great lyrics, and Julia made amazing music to recreate an amazing historical event. That
Mhm.
changed sport completely, as we both know.
And so you were a gymnast yourself. Can you give us a quick background of your history in the sport?
Yeah, I started at John Pancott Gymnastics Center in Fraser, Pennsylvania, and um, Mr. Pancott also did a lot of clinics for the United States Gymnastics Independent Federation, USAIDC. He did a lot of stuff for President's Council Physical Fitness. Um, so I did a lot of shows, and we did a lot of halftime shows for the Sixers in Philly, but made the junior national team when I was 10. And you know how in junior they have 10 to 12 and then 14 to
Mhm.
15 and
Mhm.
18. So I did the first one and I was turning 11. So 11, 12, I made the team. And from that time until 15, trained for the 92 and 96 games, too young for the 92 games, but was able to do a lot of different assignments. One of them was Junior Pan Ams with Carrie Strug and Dominique Dawes and Shannon Miller. And
Wow.
another one was being able to do international mixed pairs with Henrietta Anodi, but she got sick. Ended up, yeah.
Wow. I miss mixed pairs. But
It
so you
was,
were supposed to be with Henrietta?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow. Well,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I will always be a gymnast. It has made me the person that I am, the artist that I am, educator
mhm.
that I am. So, yeah.
So
Yeah.
you are the authenticity guru for the show. I mean, I was joking that I'm here kind of bridging the gymnastics and the theater world, but you were doing that before I got here to do this. So, and you did a really great job of it. And I just want people to know that there is somebody who is part of the show who's from our world. And so it's really, I really want to talk to you through the experiences that you had and what you know and how you feel about the portrayal of that event, because we're seeing it through a very different lens than I think we all did in 96. Do you agree?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I mean, I feel that these women, being that it was, 4 years away of the turning of the century, they already were pioneering space for women as far as, you know, within gymnastics in the United States, they were leading, being able to even have any of us, whether men or women, being paid attention to, they were leading that, and then to be able to go and um, win the gold medal as a team, and to literally have the whole world look at the United States as a force was
Hmm.
amazing. It was extremely inspirational. And what I also appreciated about this work is that it also lets people into the actual people themselves rather than the facade of what being a gymnast is, and how, specifically within women's gymnastics, there are these little girls when really they're women dealing with huge, um, not only with the sport challenges in the sport, but just also holding space and negotiating space with women in the sport. And they
Hmm.
brought a whole bunch of um, they brought life to the actual athletes themselves and what they were witnessing as individuals and what they were witnessing as a team, to then be able to earn this historical moment. So I really was drawn to it. Camille A. Brown, who is a very well-known dancer in the industry, blessed me with the opportunity and 3 years ago, and I'm really glad that Michael Uberas, believed in me enough to stay with me until we actually were able to be on location in all of March, and meeting Katie and working with Jeremy and the rest of the team. It's really been amazing. And I'm hoping that the sport can really lean into the project, because I think that it adds to how people love the sport anyway. It gives an insight really on how artistic gymnastics can be liberating, and there can be a healing and healthy space within that discussion. So I feel that it's a great conduit to add to the momentum of how the sport
Hmm.
is being.
So can you talk to me about the process of essentially transforming these non-gymnasts into gymnasts? And I heard that you guys only had like 4.5 weeks of pre-production. So
Correct.
what was that process?
Well, as a gymnast, I was involved in, as I said earlier, a lot of the performing aspects of the sport.
Hmm.
Um, I was able to be a part of the Statue of Liberty celebration, the bicentennial celebration in '86, doing the World Expo of Mr. Farrakhan in '88, '89. So the performance aspect of gymnastics, I've always enjoyed. Um,
Hmm.
and uh, being able to train people that have an idea of what it is, but not even understanding how, you know, just presenting is, you can sweat if you do, engaging all the proper muscles,
Hmm.
understanding mind and body connection, and how, you know, mind body connection and how it exists in composition, and how the body and music come together to create, an event. So
Hmm.
uh, it was hit the ground running, but
Yeah.
people were up for it. The women were up for the task, and I feel that it was jolting to them because
Yeah.
of what we were asking them to do. And then I don't think that, um, you know, teaching people how to bevel, or teaching people how to hold space, or teaching people how to present, or, you know, lifting through the sternum. These are things that, I think people take for granted, or these are the things kind of that they poke at whenever they look at gymnastics, or this is the things that they do, not understanding that it's properly aligning the body. It is training. And I think the first week after the artist got that understanding, they knew that I was creating a healthy and tough space of love, but also helping them understand that, if this is what you're experiencing, then you're getting a taste of what these women were experiencing.
Yep.
You as individuals coming to the opportunity to represent the country, but then, even with that, and bringing the camaraderie and living together, and, just being open to, gymnastics is really an individual sport, but the way in which they went about achieving this goal, they really came together. So bringing those things into the space so that people can understand that, yes, this is hard, but you're not by yourself. And it's truly the community that's lifting the individual. So that's kind of
Mhm.
how we do the process.
And this was 96 minutes of choreography. I mean, there was either one person or the group of them doing choreography. And when I talk about choreography, I'm also talking about blocking, because that is still movement within space that you're putting together. There's no off stage. There's no exit. Nobody really exits. So how challenging was that?
Well, I actually employed my dance brother Alvin Lee, who is at the University of Alabama as the associate choreographer, um, who is working on his own musical, but has done a lot of regional theater. Um, and I thought that he would be able to see the things that I wasn't able to as I'm creating the movement, and he would be able to look at it through another lens and the staging. And I was able to go down to the University of Alabama to do a little workshop with the musical theater and dance students down there, which we were then able to send some of those examples to Katie Davis just to give her an idea of what I was thinking, because we had never worked together before.
Mm-hmm.
And um, that definitely seemed to be a good model to use for us to have some momentum before we got into the space. So it really took a team, you know.
Yeah.
Alvin, Katie, myself, and Jeremy. Alvin was in and out, but really Katie was our captain that led myself and Jeremy to be able to bring together what you experience.
Mm-hmm. So one of the phrases that I use all the time, and it rings so true to me with this show, is that limitations spawn creativity. And so you were given choreography and gymnastics, two things that you know so much about and have mastered. But you couldn't really use the gymnastics side. This was not a group of gymnasts. So to take that part out, because if they could do any skill in the world, we'd have, they'd front aerial lacrosse and this, right? You'd use all of that. So to take that out, but go, it's still got to be gymnastics. Did that take you just way outside of the box, or did you enjoy that, or did that make it a lot harder?
It definitely made it harder, but it made me also, when talking about the work and talking to Katie about it, my biggest thing was introducing what people, dealing with the concept of double consciousness, in that the private and public, what people really don't get to know about being a gymnast, and the constant conditioning that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily involve the apparatus at any time, and people not really understanding that there is a language that we have in ways in which we keep the mind and the body, aligned with however we're training. And those were the things I thought about, you know,
Mm-hmm.
being present at clinics in the mid 80s when people were going to Russia, how they would have those big groups that everybody would go and learn all these techniques and then come back. And I was a
Mm-hmm.
part of the demonstrator of all of those clinics, and being in those rooms and seeing what worked, what tap worked for this, what didn't work for that, how the
Mm-hmm.
hands being the handspring for this to get, so um, being able to reflect on those moments and
Mm-hmm.
understanding how that type of embodiment then led to the virtuosity that we all witnessed. So that was introducing that to the actors was interesting as well, because they started to understand, oh, this is why when I watched the film Back of the Competition, they were doing this on the side, and I was like, yes, it's a lifestyle. It's not
Yeah.
something that you turn on and off. Much
Mm-hmm.
it's called artistic gymnastics for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yep.
we're not just machines. We're literally artists, and I feel like that's what this work really introduces to the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
There was something else that you that you put in there that I really appreciated, and gymnastics people will catch as well. You, I'm going to do it and then try to explain it, but you'd have them prep to go, and then they would go and releve walk back. Like,
Mhm.
and that's what you do when you're doing a dance through on beam. You prep for your series, you swing, and then you lift up to releve, lift your arms up, take a few steps backwards, and go to your finish. Like, brilliant, simple, but brilliant to think that yes, and that's something that is they can do, right? But it's also authentic to a real gymnastics person is going to go, okay, all right, that's the real deal. Somebody knows
Yeah,
what's up.
yeah, I
um,
appreciate
I also I enjoyed that you had Dominic Mucianu's actual starting position in there. There was pieces of her choreography pulled and put into the show. That was really, really cool. I did ask, I was like, well, what about the throwing the tantrum on the floor part that she does? But apparently we have a pregnant cast member, so that wasn't going to happen.
that was certainly not going to happen. Definitely brought it up, but then they thought, well, I'll be going into my third trimester, so maybe I should.
Yeah, no, it's so, I can't believe that. She's amazing. But
Um,
also that part of that routine always really bothered me. So I'm kind of glad that it was. Oh my gosh. So you had this part where they're going down the diagonal and they're essentially like chassing or running and doing some sort of jump. Amy Chow really was doing leaps, which I definitely appreciated. And it turns out she was a gymnast, and I'm like, called it, I knew it.
yeah,
But that was interesting too, going, it's not going to lose the energy if it's not a gymnastics skill. And you found positions for them to hit in the air that still were pretty captivating to look at, nice shapes, but not super complicated. And then you throw in a leap, and it was just like, I just kept thinking to myself, you never ran out of stuff to do without having all the stuff to do that you would like to do. It just really was impressive.
I appreciate it. I was at first, reading the director notes for the work. I mean, I was open. I'm always open to learn, always.
Yeah.
And, my biggest thing was I wanted, young gymnasts and gymnasts of that time to be able to come and see that, one, how effective the sport. I mean, it always has been, but I think now more so than ever, especially recently what has happened as far as
Mhm.
with gymnastics, also how Simone Biles is really speaking up about mental health and people really starting to understand what these athletes go through at this particular level. Uh, so that's also why I feel that this show is really important for the sport. I started training when I was 6. I'm 45 now. I'll be 46 next month. I will always be a gymnast. And
Mhm.
I'm Broadway. I teach at UMass Amherst. I've taught all through the academy, but I know that um, the body that I have and continue to strengthen is through that understanding of being a gymnast and being an artistic
Yeah.
understanding.
Could you imagine not being able to go upside down?
I wouldn't
I
know
can't
what to
imagine.
do.
I don't understand. Like, you just can't flip over. How do you don't know what that feels like? I can't imagine. Cannot imagine. Okay, I want to talk about these beam poses.
Okay.
Again, I'm like, these are not gymnasts, and they look the part. Like, it was funny. It was funny because of how accurate it was. And, we don't want beams to be all pose, pose, pose. That's a huge problem in our sport, but that is what we're seeing. So I thought that you captured that really well, and they captured that really well too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. If you had the fluidity and the tempo changes that we'd like to see, people wouldn't recognize it. So well played.
yeah, I just yeah, it was really fun. It was the actors definitely I gave a hard way to go, but um I think that they're starting to understand um, the more that they do it, the more of a response because we really didn't have a chance to have previews. We just started right away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
on opening night, there was a family that was sitting in front of myself and Alvan. The mother started crying at the end, and the father got up and asked if we knew people in the show. And I said, no, we're the choreographers of the show. And she's like, oh, this is amazing. And, you know, my daughter is a dancer. And I think now they're starting to see what the show is going to do as a vehicle. And so I think now they're able to lean in even more about, you know, what they're representing and whom they're representing within the experience.
Mhm.
So yeah, I plan to come back closing on the 16th just to see how things
Nice.
are moving, to check in with everybody.
Yeah. Well, you are loved around here, I'll tell you that. And I'm really
Oh,
glad we got a chance to talk. Is there anything that you want to share with listeners as far as how they can follow you, see what you're up to?
folks can follow me on Instagram, Duane Lee Holland Jr. I also am in the process of doing a one-man show called The Adventures of Max Lancaster, which is
Wow.
supposed to debut probably in the fall of 2023. I have some music coming out under that name, Max Lancaster. So yeah, stay
You are
tuned.
all around artist. Very cool. Well, thank you so much. And I'm glad I beat the end of your oil change so you can go back to your day.
Indeed, indeed. And it's been a pleasure, and I look forward to us building in the near future.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much. Goodbye.